KwaZulu-Natal transport officials and the taxi councils are meeting this hour in an effort to resolve a strike that's impacted thousands of commuters all over Durban. The metro has barred taxis without valid permits from operating. Newzroom Afrika's Silethiwe Ndlovu tracking that story for us, and she joins us live now with an update. Silethiwe, good evening to you. The understanding is that that meeting has just gotten underway. Are you able to tell us what is going to be on the agenda? But also, let's include the plight of commuters. I'm sure they're very frustrated.
Quite certainly, Xoli, at this very moment, we have seen a number of relevant stakeholders that are set to take part in that engagement arrive here at this particular hotel in Musgrave. Of course, there's a few concerns that have been raised throughout the day where, coming from the conversation that Newzroom Afrika had with Santako just this morning, they state that the issue, or rather the non-operation of these taxis stems from issues in terms of operating licenses, but also the impounding of 25 minibus taxis impounded by the eThekwini Metro Police last week Thursday in Claremont. Now, throughout the whole day, we've been engaged in conversations with a number of commuters around the city who state that they were quite surprised to find that there's a number of taxis in different areas that are not operating. Perhaps then, to extend the conversation, I'm going to bring in now the spokesperson from the Department of Transport. Ndlovu, thank you so much once again for your time. I think, firstly, I'll just start off with the burning question that a lot of people want to know. Where are we in terms of the strike, and have you found a way forward, considering that there's a number of engagements that have taken place in the couple of in the past few hours, rather, even just yesterday?
Yeah, no, thank you very much. The MEC for Transport and Human Settlements, Sibongiswa, working with the Mayor of eThekwini, Cyril Xaba, will be having a meeting with eThekwini Metro Taxi Council, over the next few minutes, just to refine the resolutions of the meeting that took place last night. 11-hour-long meeting. We finished in the wee hours of the morning. There are quite a number of strategic resolutions that were adopted. Number one, the whole issue around the letter of permits, the letters that must be issued to the Department of Transport, so that we are in a position to issue permits to the taxi operators from eThekwini region. We can confirm as the Department of Transport that so far there are 22,000 permits that we've issued for the province of KwaZulu-Natal, taxi operators that are operating throughout the corners of the province of KwaZulu-Natal. For eThekwini alone, 15,000 permits have been issued. We are sitting, about 6,000 permits that are being processed. But the meeting agreed that, look, eThekwini municipality will conduct a feasibility study just to check the feasibility, as to whether we do need more taxis or the routes are saturated. That is the issue that was discussed. In the meantime, it was then agreed that, look, let's also allow the taxi operators, to operate freely. The public transport system is the backbone of the economy of eThekwini. That is why MEC and the mayor are working flat out to ensure that there's a resolution of the challenges that we are facing.
Maybe just to, before I go into my next question, there's something that you're mentioning now. You're saying we've resolved to allow taxis to operate freely. Perhaps just to perhaps elaborate on that for us. Are we saying that the strike is ending? And I ask this because we have a number of commuters that are still stranded in a number of taxi ranks around the city.
The meeting that is going to take place will actually, reflect on the finer details in terms of how the two, spheres of government, the province as well as eThekwini, will manage the whole issue of the issuing of permits. Remember, number one, for us as the department to issue a permit, the municipality must indicate that there is a rank stand available. So there is a feasibility study that must be conducted just to determine whether more taxis are needed and which routes are saturated, which routes are actually needing more taxis. So that aside, We are obviously very positive, because the meeting last night was characterized by robust, engagement. There was a climate of peace. Both parties engaged, freely, and we all committed to ensure that we pull in the same direction, in the interest of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. But in short, the meeting this afternoon, this afternoon, will actually indicate, the final details, and we are hopeful that we are going to turn the corner.
There's also a bit of concern, perhaps considering how long the meeting is going to take. And I say this because the meeting from yesterday started at 5, and I believe that there were indications from relevant stakeholders that stated that it ended around 1 a.m. For someone that has been, that slept at the taxi rank, for someone that has been at the taxi rank since 4 a.m., how long are we looking in terms of how long this meeting could possibly run?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not in a position to indicate how long it's going to take, but one is very comfortable in a sense that last night we really, covered a lot of ground. The issue of the illegal, operators. Remember, we've got, e-hailers who are moving around with, app. They are also, the other illegal operators who are claiming to be e-hailers, but yet they are eating into the client base of the taxi operators. That is a source of conflict. So that is why it was agreed that last week on Friday, when we were in Watabega, it was agreed that there will be a multidisciplinary, a team involving SAPS, a team assigned by the Lieutenant General Ntlatla Mkhwanazi to work with Metropolis, to work with Operation Channel in the Department of Transport, to work with Claremont and Watabega Taxi Association, just to deal with the elements that are playing into the vacuum. Remember, the Minister of Transport, Barbara Creecy, will be gazetting the regulations over the next few weeks with that phase, that phase will then usher in a new era in terms of, the e-hailing industry. In the past, the e-hailers operated under the practice notice, operating within the meter taxis, but now they are going to operate independently. We agree with the taxi operators, with the leadership of eThekwini Metro Taxi Council, that look, we need to deal with the illegal operators. The law enforcement, agencies must be seen to be applying the law equally. It's something that we agreed upon, and we committed, that we are going to deal with those issues as we move forward.
Spokesperson, thank you so much for your time this evening. That's the spokesperson, Xoli, from the KZN Department of Transport, Ndlovu, speaking to us about the engagement that is about to start shortly, and I do believe that that act that he spoke about there at the end is yet to be gazetted for implementation just now. I do believe in October. I stand to be corrected. However, there were also a few concerns that were raised regarding that particular act, especially because coming from the department, they state that they are not certain if it's actually going to resolve the long-standing issues, some of them actually being mentioned right now by the spokesperson. So we are then going to hear, hopefully, from the departments and relevant stakeholders how that engagement is going to go, especially because we know that there's a number of commuters that slept at different taxi ranks here in Durban, a lot of them also not being able to make it to work this morning, Xoli.